What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Mel. It's your boy Mel on Mars. It's your boy Mr. Get on Your Nerves. Whatever you want to call me, just call me. Here with another video today. I want to go across this topic and just point something out that maybe a lot of people are missing. And we know with my particular channel, I do have an agenda. I have an agenda that oftentimes comes clear and it's pretty obvious, but at times it may be a little bit more nuanced, a little bit more hidden, where you guys have to figure it out, or I'll reveal it later on. And this is one of those videos. I have an agenda, I have a point of view. Just stick with me, hang with me to the end of the video, and it'll come clear, very crystal clear, very soon. Guys, this video is about Michael Todd and John Gray. If you guys don't know these two gentlemen, these are two pastors of non-denominational, I would say, churches. You got Michael Todd, who's based out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. He's pretty much known right now as the Instagram preacher. I mean, everybody knows who Michael Todd is. If you are a millennial or Generation Z, you're pretty much aware of who Michael Todd is now, because you're on Instagram. A lot of people are sharing his messages. He is booming right now. And he just recently, as I believe this past Sunday, it became official that they took over a massive building in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I believe it used to be a bank. And that's their new home of their church. I mean, before he got to that building, they was already booming at another building. But now, business is booming even more in the new building. It's amazing the things that God is doing through this man. He's a young man. I believe he's around my age, if my memory serves me correctly. I don't have any notes in front of me at the moment, but he's doing great things. Such a young age, has a wonderful wife, wonderful family. It seems like they're doing great things to affect the community of Tulsa and people all over the world. And then we have Mr. John Gray. Mr. John Gray has been on the scene for several years now. And I seen him first at a church I attended a couple years ago here in Dallas. And he's been linked with Lakewood Church, which is Joel Osteen's church in Houston, Texas. I think he was doing Bible studies there for several years. And then he had a grand opportunity to take over a church in South Carolina called the Redemption Church, I believe. And that's the correlation that John Gray and Michael Todd has. They both have, within the last several years, taken over a massive church and tried to take that church to another level. They're taking the church, I don't make the race card, but it kind of is, from a white pastor. And these are two young African-American black males that have taken over these churches and taken it to another level. Well, guys, unfortunately, since John Gray has taken over the church, he's had one bad issue after another. If you follow my videos I've done on him before, and many other bloggers and vloggers out there, he's had so many infidelity allegations on his wife. Some of those came out to be true, some of those came out to not be true. Him and his wife seem to work things out, or are working things out. And the most recent horrific things he's gone through in the news is he's going through a financial battle with the previous owners, or the co-owners, or whatever you want to say, the previous pastors of this church. I think there's a lot of people out there talking about it. I don't want to get into the nuances of that. I just want to make my point, and I'm not going to get into details. If you want to know about this stuff, Google it. But basically what's going on in a nutshell, John Gray allegedly hasn't been paying the rent on time or not at all. And there's a lot of other financial things that are going on. And so the previous pastors of that church is now coming to take over the church again. And it's a lot of things that people looking at that sideways, because now John Gray has increased the attendance of the church where it was decreasing before. And a lot of people looking at that like it's not fair to John Gray that that's going on. But I look at it a little bit differently. I believe John Gray wasn't prepared or ready to pastor this church. This man, don't get me wrong, has a tremendous gift as far as ability to preach, ability to teach, has a comedic ability. He has all the gifts it would take to be persuasive and to lead people in a godly direction. However, it takes so much more than that to be a pastor of a church. I believe Pastor John Gray is struggling in one key area: integrity. Being the same person off stage that he is on stage. There's no perfect man in the world. You see a perfect man pointing to me, and you probably pointing at God. However, integrity is not about being perfect. It's about striving for perfection. It's about being the best you, whether someone is looking or not. And John Gray, I just believe he's struggling in that area, and I don't believe that he can never get there. It's just right now, his time in his life, he doesn't have it. And it's gonna be one thing after the next that falls under his name, that tarnishes his name, until he finally gets to the point where he surrenders and tries his best to be the life that he's portraying to be. As opposed to Michael Todd, everything that he touches grows, develops, elevates. Every sermon he preaches permeates millions of people. I'm talking about millennials are being touched by the millions. Generation Z's are being impacted by the millions. And there's one key thing, guys, that separates John Gray and Michael Todd. And it's this gentleman right here. You say, who is this? No, that's not Charlie Wilson. That's not Charlie Wilson. Charlie! Oh, that's not him. That is Michael Todd's father. Again, I don't have no notes right here. I just popped this video on because I had a thought. When I have a thought, I had to get it out of my head. I'm sorry. So I don't know Michael Todd's dad off the top of my head. If I'm editing this video correctly, I just put it in there right now. So hopefully you guys see it now. This is Michael Todd's father. Why do I say this man separates Michael Todd and John Gray? Again, guys, this goes to my agenda. This goes to the purpose of my channel. This goes to the purpose of what I do on a day in, day out basis, which is point out the fact that there's no greater relationship to any child, especially a man, than a relationship he has with his earthly father. Your earthly father is the greatest relationship you can have on earth, and it promotes and presents you with the integrity that you need to pursue your passions, the integrity that you need to perfect your passions, the integrity that you need to succeed at your passions and succeed at your calling. If you don't know, John Gray had a very troubled relationship with his father. You can look that up as well, but I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, if I'm wrong, I will correct this in my editing process, that he had a troubled relationship with his father. His father's now passed away, and I believe he only had a few conversations with his dad. And from that point, he's done everything he can to fill that void. He tried to fill that void with Bishop Jakes, with Pastor Joel Osteen, with his mother. And even through his infidelity issues, he talked about how he leaned on his woman, his wife, to be his covering. The Bible never told a wife, or never said that a wife would be our covering as men. As opposed, on the contrary, men should be the covering of their wives. So this man is in search of that void, to fill that void that his dad left. And I'm not saying he hasn't filled that at this point, but I'm saying that void is what I believe hinders him from having that integrity to succeed in the areas that he's trying to pursue. As opposed to Michael Todd, you see a great relationship between him and his father. His father is, I believe, a former pastor as well, or current pastor, I'm not sure, but he's able to walk in the footprints of not only God, but his dad. He's able to go from what his dad did and take it to a whole nother level. And that's what it means to have a father that's active, that's loyal, that gives you that discipline, that gives you everything you need to the best of their ability. And I talk about that because society and this world wants to push away the value of having a great father. Society wants us to think that it's all about what your mother does. And on the contrary, we know that the best thing our mother do for us is birth us. Which will give them the biggest round of applause for that. We know that fathers are the foundation of every child. And this is just another example of what a good foundation will do for you and a lack of a foundation will do for you. I'm not here to talk bad about any one of these gentlemen, and I wish both of these gentlemen the best. I want success for John Gray. I want continued success for Michael Todd. I don't want to see either one of these men fall. But Michael Todd has a better chance and has a bit of a head start because he had a great father in his life. It's your boy Mel on Mars. It's your boy Mel. It's your boy Mr. Get on Your Nerves. I don't care what you call me, just call me. But all I want us to do is let's grow. Peace.